A throw-up is a graffiti writer's tag made with outlined letters. So it's basically taking your tag letters and then blowing them up like they were balloons. It's a classic throw-up could be this Tabs Moses throw-up that I have in my background, because they should be similar in style. They are often very bubble-like, so they are very round in all of the edges. And a throw-up is very easy to do. It's a sketch that you should be able to remember by heart, so you could just throw it up on the wall, hence the name, at any given time. So it's something that is not that time consuming, and it's like the movements that you're having in your hand, whether that you're sketching or having the cane, is very like circular. So it's about making these outline letters that I will show you just now how to do. One of the most famous examples of throw-ups in the world are probably the throw-ups from Scene. So it says S-E-E-N. And Scene is also known as the godfather of graffiti. He has been with us since the 80s, the 70s, and he has really been a part of defining the whole graffiti culture. What you can see here is that if I'm just laying my hands on the middle of everything, like the letters almost look identical, because they have an identical top, they have an identical bottom with this round-like movement. And this is the overall goal that you want to achieve when making graffiti throw-ups. Of course, you can also make them edgy, but most throw-ups are round-ish in their appearances. So the goal is to try to make each letter look like the next one, but of course with respecting each letter's key areas. And the key areas are what makes one letter a letter. So for instance, if I were to block this, you couldn't see that it's an N, because you actually need this information here. Another throw-up I want to show you is, let's see if I can find something in here. Yeah, there's this one from Crash, C-R-A and Z. And as you can see, he's really experimenting with what is a throw-up able to do. This one, it looks like it's some kind of paper that has been rolled together, and it's not that many lines that are actually in the throw-up. Everything is like almost melted into each other. But he's still trying to keep the overall appearances of each letter the same. And as you can see, this line here and this line here having the same direction again. All of the letters are like slightly tilt to the left, always like leaning like this. And there are some drips and there are some cast shadows, like the drop down shadows like this. Also a great example of a throw-up. One that are maybe more bombing kind of like throw-up, because this is more time consuming, the one that I just showed you. This one can be made much faster. This one is from Norm, who's unfortunately passed away. He wrote N-O-R-M. And as you can see, very easy, very straight up letters that are just easy to execute. And then he has, instead of normal holes, he put two crosses in it. Super known like for his style, like that he would do the crosses. These lines are a little bit easier to do than the other one that I showed you. Another good example could be Ewok. So it's E-W-O-K. And as you can see, he's also experimenting with, okay, this top is actually the top of E and the W. And then this line becomes the O. But he's overall keeping the flow that are round-ish, so it really looks like this bubble style. In comparison, or like a contradiction to this one could be his fellow crewmate, Arrow. So Arrow is like A here, R here, O, and then E. As you can see, he's building his throw-up out from triangles. So there's a lot of triangles in this throw-up, like this. Then it's circles, triangles and circles. And this is a super nice example of a throw-up where you're using different styles to actually come up with a new kind of style. And it functions really well because it's like he's not using too much of one element and too little of another. He's kind of like using some symmetrical things where he's using three triangles here, then he's using three round circles down here, so they're kind of weighing out for each other, and I think it functions super nicely. Then he's putting the halo up here to take away some of the negative space that are up here, to trying to balance it out a bit more. Also a super great throw up with a nice drop down shadow on it, and also a little drop down shadow on each onto the next letter, to make it seem like it's floating a bit. And I'll talk a little bit about this when we are reaching the shadows in this episode. Now I want to show you the very basic of how to do a throw up, like where everything comes from. So as I said, throw ups are letters where you have taken the outline from a straight up letter, like a capital letter. So if I'm making a normal A like this, I could take a marker, and then I could take the outline for it, or from it. And as you can see, I'm just going around the letter like this. So the black line now represents the outline. So if I were to make the outline without the capital letter first, it would look like this. And this is the very, very simple method of like blowing your capital letters up into these blockbuster kind of letters, because this is a very straight up letter, but you could also do a B that are just like this. Then you could take the outline from that one, and then it would suddenly become kind of like a graffiti letter, right? So if I were to do this just freestyle, I'll do something like this. And this is actually where graffiti came from. Like this is where graffiti started, that someone made some tags, like they wrote the style or whatever, and then they started outlining it. So this is a nice tag. And then one thought in the 70s, what happens if I start to outline this tag? Then it becomes something else. Then throw-ups and pieces were born. So this is where everything started from. So if you're just making a capital letter, making an outline from it, then you can start doing these graffiti letters. And if you were to make this one more, how do you say it, like throw up kind of vibe, then you can make them a little bit more like round, but still keeping the actual shapes of it inside. So this could be like a throw up A, because you would still have all the elements in it. But a throw up A could also be a smaller A like this, like a low capital A, then the A inside is like this, right? But there's a lot of different ways that you can experiment with this. You can also make your A like this. This could also be an A. So like there's a lot of ways that you can practice with this. The inside is what we call the fill-in of the letter, because now once we have the outline, we can start filling the letters in like this, and now it really starts becoming more of like a standard throw-up that we see in the city. And this leads me to the next exercise. For this exercise, I want you to take 5 capital letters and turn them into these outline letters. And I want you to maybe take a G, an H, and an S, and then you can choose the last 2 letters for yourself. Because an H is very straight, an S is super curved, and the G has a little bit of both, like a little bit curved and a little bit straight. Then you can see how it's functioning with going from this tag style to this outline letter style. So 5 different letters, go.